Hey, good morning. How is everybody doing this morning? I'm doing another video. I'm at home, by the way, and I had to get up early this morning. Stop this noise here. My little water kettle is making a lot of noise. Had to get up early this morning and take my car down to the garage, my little jalopy that I refuse to get rid of. There's more work that needs to be done to it. Anyway, so I'm back home and I said, well, let me make some soursop juice for later. Because I'm terrible with drinking sodas and, my Pepsis and my Dr. Peppers and all that type of stuff. So I'm going to make some soursop juice. This is not something that I have done many times. As a matter of fact, I think I may have made it twice. But I have the ingredients. And since I'm getting ready to make it, and I'm supposed to be sharing with you all, I'm going to make it in front of you all. Now, for those of you who don't know what a soursop looks like, this is it. Pretty ugly, right? Just really, really ugly. It's not attractive. But it makes a really good juice. And it has so many health benefits I can't even name. Like, you would have to Google this for the health benefits, and you would not believe this ugly fruit, this soursop, that is mainly, from what I understand, found in the Caribbean, in the warmer climates in the Caribbean, that this fruit has benefits for your kidneys, for your liver. Even the leaves from the fruit, the leaves off the tree, can be used for like a calming effect. You can make a tea from that. This is good for anything, you name it under the sun, even cancer. If you talk to not talk to because he's passed, but if you were to watch some of Dr. Eby's videos, I believe he was the one who introduced soursop as the young soursop anyway, as a possible cure for cancer. So anyway, soursop is big here in Jamaica. And I must admit, for a long time, I ain't fooled with it because it looked like this. I'm telling you, I could not. And worse, when it looks like this. This is a really, really ripe one, right? Nobody would really want to. But when you make a juice out of this, and you do it properly being my way, because my Jamaican friends are gonna be like, no, Cindy, you were supposed. I'm gonna do it how I do it, and it's gonna be delicious. And my camera is sliding. And anyway, we're gonna do it together. And then while we're doing it together, I'm gonna talk. I'm so glad that I'm gonna use the really ripe one. And what I'm gonna do is just peel back the skin on this until I get to the actual fruit of the soursop. I might have to get rid of more of this than I thought because it's really ripe. I don't know if you're seeing this. And it has a lot of seeds in it. Soursop comes with a lot of these black seeds. Can you see that? Yeah, those seeds. We don't want those. Sometimes you can blend it, and you can even blend the seeds and just strain that out if you want to, but I don't know about this soursop, y'all. This might not even work out. And my other one is still frozen. Well, I'm going to take what I can from this one because we don't want to waste anything. And then I'll just work with the rest. And then I'll show you all how I kind of blend it up. But what I'm doing now is just picking out these seeds because what I want is the fruity part. Right? That's what I want. The fleshy, I should say, the fleshy part. But anyway, as I was saying, I'm so glad that I finally did my first video because you all responded, and a lot of people were, happy that I did it and said that they were inspired and, all of those things like that. And I appreciate those things. I really do. I want to continue to do the videos. I still haven't figured out the whole YouTube thing. I need somebody to help me. If you're a YouTuber out there, help me get my channel going because I don't want to post these on Facebook all the time. My Facebook is my Facebook. So I would really like to get the YouTube thing going so that I can put all of these videos there in that one place. So, you see how messy this is? That's why I have the gloves on. It's not a clean job to do, but the end result is delicious. So, did that, got the positive feedback from the videos, and I just thought to myself, there were so many opportunities that I had since I've been here to show you all different things. And I just, for different reasons, just never would do it. Number one, people's privacy. Not too much worried about my privacy as I am other people. And it's kind of hard to show you what my life is like here, and some of the things that I experience without exposing other people. That's just how it is. I'm not here alone. I see, and interact with people on a daily basis. And some of those people, for whatever reason, may not want to participate in these videos. So that's, I think, part of it. The other thing is, I felt like it just was going to be awkward, just talking, But now I realize I can talk to you just like I would be talking to, anybody else. I'm just chatting on the phone, talking to one of my good girlfriends or one of my family members, just telling you about my day and what's going on. So, we're going to move on to one of the other questions. One of the questions, I believe Sadana, hey Sadana, if you're watching, asked me was about the real estate market here. And whether or not I had a realtor assist me with the purchase of my house. The answer to that question is no, I didn't have a realtor assist me. And oddly enough, when I first started coming to Jamaica, I was a licensed realtor myself, licensed in DC, Maryland, and Virginia. Even thought about getting my license here in Jamaica, but unlike the States where you could have just gotten it under reciprocity and they just licensed you based on the experience and, all of what you've already done, that wouldn't have worked here. And so I decided I wasn't going to go through all of that. So I started doing like a Airbnb instead, where I didn't necessarily need a license, and that has worked out for me pretty well. But no, I didn't have a realtor. What happened was, I used to come down and I would stay in either Montego Bay, or Ochi, and so those were the two areas that I knew and that I was familiar with and comfortable with. But one day, on one of my trips over, I was talking to a guy, and he was telling me about Trelawney, specifically Falmouth, this area. And I was like, I've seen it. I know in driving past, I've seen it. I've always been curious about it, but I've never been there. And he said, well, you should really check it out because it's up and coming. There's not a lot of new development. It is where there's a pier there now, and it's where some of the ships that come in, it's where they dock, and he just really talked it up. So with that being said, when the time came that I was going to come down, and I knew that I was going to be here for a while, I was going to do what you call a trial run. So I didn't just move to Jamaica in one swoop. After several visits, I made a decision that I was going to at least buy something, or I wanted to buy something in Jamaica, put it like that. I wanted to. Didn't make a decision. Maybe in my mind I made a decision, but I didn't have no money to just buy something straight out. But I wanted to buy something because, like I said, at the time, I was a real estate agent and I had already bought, 2 properties. And I was like, I would love to buy something in Jamaica, so that way when I come, I don't have to stay in a resort. I can kind of, really have a real experience. Well, I asked him if he could kind of make some arrangements for me to check out a place here, in the area, and because I wanted to give it a try. And he did just that, and I ended up staying at one of the houses in this very same community where I live now. I stayed in a gentleman's house who was overseas. I believe he's in the UK, and I stayed there for about a good month and a half. You see me sweating? This right here, this is what you got to deal with. Ooh, child. Anyway, I stayed in that house for a month and a half. And that was quite an experience, because what I wanted to see, number one, was what it would be like to be here for more than just a week or 2 weeks. What it was going to be like for me to have to go to the supermarket every day and not just walk down to the cafeteria at the resort. I wanted to see, I wanted to do a trial run and see what it would be like if this was it. If it was just me and I had to rely on my own, resources and all of that type of stuff. So he made the arrangements, and I rented the place from this guy. House just like mine, 2-bedroom, right here in this community, which is a gated community. And I was comfortable with that because it was a gated community. I felt safe and comfortable. I'm now going into this next soursop that was a bit frozen, but looks a little bit better on the inside. So it was a little, in the beginning, strange. It was a little difficult because, number one, I was lonely. I was in this house, not this house, but that house, and it was nice because I was just like, wow, it's so relaxing, it's so calming. But every day, for the most part, I had to figure out, how am I gonna get my groceries? How am I gonna get into town? But that all, what I thought would have been an issue, quickly was resolved. It didn't take long for me to learn how to take a taxi, where to get the taxi from, all that type of stuff. And so, in that time, that month and a half that I was here, I got comfortable with Trelawney, with this area, in the Falmouth area. And so when it came time for me to start looking, even though I had looked out in Montego Bay, I had looked in St. Anne, a couple of because there are several schemes being communities like this, gated communities on the island now. They're all over. And what they are is they consist of several houses, same look, like a cookie cutter type style, but then you have your basic style, and then you can build out on it however you want. Well, because I had stayed here and because I was familiar with this community, I came very close to buying somewhere else, but this community already felt like home because I had been here, like I said, for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And so I just started looking here on my own, just looking around. And sure enough, I found this house that was for sale. The gentleman that owned it had bought it, but he lived in St. Elizabeth. And it was really kind of like going to be like a vacation home for him, or summer home or whatever. And he said he just never ended up spending any time here. And so that's how I ended up finding this home. I did not have to use a realtor. It was just kind of word of mouth. I talked to some people in the community, and they directed me to the homes that were for sale. Spoke to the gentleman, basically negotiated the deal. And then after that, it was just a matter of hiring a lawyer to do the paperwork. And even with that part, all of that was easy. Getting it actually done from top to bottom, finishing and closing and signing those papers and all of that took over a year. That whole process took over a year, because it was just because I was not from Jamaica, because I was an American, everything had to be double checked, because of course they want to make sure that they protect their interests. Because I could say I'm going to buy this house and say I'm going to pay XYZ and then go back to the United States, I guess, and don't pay a dime, and there really wouldn't have been much recourse. So anyway, they made sure that I had everything in order. And it was a trying process, but I just kept going. Even in the beginning when it wasn't looking good, and I would go 2-3 months dealing with one of the banks here, and then we'd get to a point and they say, oh no, we can't do it because of this, something about your tax returns or something like that. So then I'd go to another bank. Now meanwhile, while all of this was happening, I had already established myself here with several different banks. And I did that, again, consciously, but also not realizing that that was, I mean, I was doing it because I was just trying to establish myself. I figured, why not have an account with NCB? Why not have an account with Scotia? Why not have an account with Jamaica National? Why not? But didn't really see all the way down the road that it would eventually, become very necessary. And it was. So, long story short, I eventually got the house. But it took a lot of going back and forth with people and being disappointed and being frustrated because things weren't being done on time, being frustrated because people were not processing my information the way that they should. To the point where the guy that was selling me the house, he got so frustrated and tired of waiting, he was getting ready to just give up and, try and find somebody else to buy the house. So I had to give him some money, just for him to hold him off, just to appease him. And I'm glad I did, because I really do like this house, this particular location. And if my hands weren't messy and I wasn't all into this soursop, I would show you why. Because I'm on a corner. I'm in the corner house, and I have what you call a double lot, so I have a lot of yard space, and haven't been able to do much with it yet because I really need a good landscaper, and the soil here is pretty bad. It's hard to get anything to grow, although I have been able to get a few things. I have a coconut tree in the back that's growing. I have a mango tree, and then I have this pretty little tree right out here. Let me see if I can show you. Rinse my hands off. I'm about done with this. I think I've gotten everything I can get out of it. Let me show you my Franzi. I think they call it Franzi Pronzi or something like that. But there's a few different names for it, but it's actually a plumeria tree. Y'all ladies, you remember plumeria from Bath and Body Works and how we just love the way it smells? I think they even brought it back. But I have a plumeria tree. And see if I can, I don't know if you can see that or not. Can you see that? I am not going outside. But I'm trying to show you from my kitchen window, but I had these shutters. So I hope you can see that tree. It blooms this pretty purple flower. And it smells so good. It smells delicious. So anyway, I feel so country because I have on an apron, some gloves, in the kitchen, like Betty Crocker. But guess what? This is what it is. So I've got the soursop in here now, in the bowl. And I'm just going to break it all up because some of it was frozen, like I said. Try to get the remaining seeds out. And got a little bit of sugar already in my container. I've got my strainer ready because I'm going to have to strain off the juice. And I've got my handy dandy little limes because this makes the difference. And some people, I think I've heard say put a little nutmeg in theirs, and I don't know. I don't want any nutmeg in mine. I want to kind of keep it simple and fresh and light. So almost similar to a lemonade. But because the consistency of this, if you can see, because it's so thick, you have to break it down. And I would put it in the bullet, but that would be so loud, and I don't want to do all of that. But anyway, Donna, sorry, I hope I'm not boring y'all, because now I'm just talking, because I can't do anything else. My hands is tied up. I did not have a realtor. Found this house on my own. Went through the trials and tribulations. Finally was able to buy the house. And I'm glad I did. I'm glad I chose this house, because had I moved to Ochi, I don't think I would be as happy as I am now. Ochi is a little bit further up the north coast, about maybe a good 45-minute drive from here. And Montego Bay is in the opposite direction, about maybe a 25-minute drive. And I'm kind of right in the middle. And I like being right in the middle because I can get to everything faster. So it's like a central location. And being right here off the north coast, the beach is right there, and everything just seems a little bit more accessible. And had I moved further out, I think I would have been feeling kind of isolated Even though I feel isolated sometimes here too. But that's for, different reasons. But yeah, that's what it was. As far as the market is concerned, all depends on what you're looking for. You can buy a decent home. And when I say decent, something simple like one of these scheme homes for maybe a little over $120,000 now, because they're steadily kind of going up, which is not a lot of money in the grand scheme of things. I think they might start at about 14, 15 million Jamaican. And I don't even know what the exchange rate is anymore, but I think maybe you can get one of these for definitely less than 200,000 US. And then the beautiful thing is you can take it and you can add on to it and you can build up. And what I'll do is I'll go out and I'll show you what some of my neighbors have done. Some of my neighbors have done some beautiful extensions and add-ons to their properties. Really, really nice. So now, depending on what area you want to live in, if you want to live in Ocho Rios, if you want to live in Montego Bay, if you want to live in Kingston, some of those areas you're going to pay a bit more. And it also depends on whether or not you want to live in a gated community. For me, a gated community was a must. I couldn't be a foreigner just, living in an ungated community, traveling back and forth to the U.S., and I would feel vulnerable. I would feel like my home was vulnerable. So I didn't want that. Definitely had to have something gated. Nothing is foolproof, and always still have to be careful. But I know I feel a lot better knowing that I am in a gated community. So that would be my advice to anybody that is looking to buy something in Jamaica, is make sure it is in a secure or gated community, because you can't trust people, not even your own people, when it comes to you traveling back and forth and making sure that all of your stuff is going to be intact. Right? Now, I've had a lot of people say to me, I want to move. I would want to move to Jamaica too, What should I do? What advice would you give me? My advice would be don't. And not in a trying to crush your dreams kind of way, but in a let's just be realistic. This ain't for everybody. Living in Jamaica is not all sunshine and beaches and red stripe and rum. Living in Jamaica is a complete and total lifestyle change. I mean, look at me. I'm in the damn apron, squeezing out soursop juice. This ain't no shit I would have done at home. There are some days when it can be so challenging, because some of the simple things that we are so accustomed to in the United States that we just take for granted, that's just always there, they're not here. And I know some of you have been to Jamaica and you've stayed on resorts and you was like, oh, it was beautiful, and I went down every day and I had a nice breakfast and a nice lunch. Yeah, on a resort, that is what you're going to have. And you're going to wake up every morning and be able to get in the shower, and there's going to be when you're living here, it is a completely different experience. There are mornings, and not often, but there are mornings when I wake up and I have no water. There's no water coming out of this pipe. It might take a little while for it to eventually come back, but some days that's just how it is. And it has nothing to do with you not paying your bill or anything like that. It's just that there's an issue. We have, as a matter of fact, you can Google this. Falmouth, Jamaica had the very first piped water, even before the United States. I want to say, I'm terrible at the dates, but I want to say back in like a little bit before 1700. Falmouth, Jamaica, using the Martha Brae River as a source, had the very first piped water. So, but water is an issue for us at times. Again, it's not all the time. It doesn't happen often, but I know I think it was last year or maybe the year before, this whole community, I don't know if it was all of Trelawney, but for maybe a good 2-3 mile radius, Nobody had water for, I believe, almost a week, or maybe a little over a week. And what we had to do was take these big containers that we had, go down to the spring that's maybe a couple of miles down the road, and we had to catch water in those big containers, and we had to use that until the situation, whatever with the Martha Brae River, they had to clean all of that up. We had to do that until now. I know y'all. Most of y'all ain't gonna be trying to deal with that. Most of y'all are gonna be like, I'm ready to go home. So when I say to people, don't even consider moving to Jamaica. If you want to invest in Jamaica, definitely invest in Jamaica. But uprooting yourself, leaving what you know and all the things that you are comfortable and accustomed to, is not something that I would ever recommend, because that's just one example of some inconveniences that could occur. And there's nobody that you can fuss at. There's nobody you can complain to. It is what it is. When we didn't have water, we didn't have water. It wasn't just me. It was everybody. So you can imagine how uncomfortable that was. Yesterday, my power went off. About midday, I'm in here, TV on, I'm on a laptop, AC is running in the bedroom, and then zoop, power gone. Sat here with no power for maybe a couple of hours, and then the power came back on. That's JPS. I don't know what they were doing. I don't know what the situation was, but that's what happens. Now, some people can rough it. I'm a rough it kind of girl. I can deal with that. Even though I might cuss and complain, I can deal with it. Some of y'all, don't move to Jamaica. That's all I'm saying. Don't move to Jamaica. So anyway, I got my little mush soursop. I have, as far as I know, de-seeded everything. I am going to now, got my container that I'm putting it in, my strainer on the top. I'm going to put a little in here. Now this is my way of doing it, as I said. Everybody don't do it the same way. You can watch videos and some of the roster guys do it a different way. Everybody has their own way. But I have my water here that I have just warmed up in my kettle. And I think having it warm is going to help. And I wish I can't keep moving the camera, but I'm going to put this through. And I'm straining. Let me see if I can move this around. Straining out. I got to do better. I need a photographer. Can you see? Can you see? That's better. I'm going to strain out some of that juice. Because I don't want all that pulp and all of that other gook. I want the flavor. And if you ever tasted a soursop, as ugly as it took me a while to even taste one because it was so damn ugly. But if you've ever tasted one, it's so refreshing. It's so good. Again, like similar to lemonade. You add that lime, you add a little bit of sugar. But then the health benefits, like I said, everything from, ladies, UTI, liver, kidneys, digestive. Soursop is just, it has so many benefits. I'm squeezing all of that out. Make sure that I get all of my juice out of my soursop. I have a little bit more I'm going to squeeze out. And then we're going to add the lime. But yeah, so no, I would. Jamaica is not for everybody. Moving out of the country, period. Moving out of the United States is not for everybody. Not unless you, number one, have decided that you are okay with going through some periods where you're going to be uncomfortable. Number two, you're not dragging anybody else with you, making them uncomfortable too. Now I could move to Jamaica and I could do what I'm doing because it was just me. I wasn't married at the time. I didn't have any children. I wasn't putting anybody through any unnecessary hardships or making anybody else transition. It was all my transition. And of course, the way I saw it was, if things don't work out, I'm gonna always come back home. But things have worked out. because I'm going to make sure that they work out. Because this is now part of my life. This is now part of my lifestyle. You know, I really do feel like a person with two homes. You know, of course, America, the United States is where I was born. It's where I was raised. I will always love the United States. I'm going to always tell the truth. Because as much as I love it, I'm going to also speak the truth, you know, about some of the horrible things that are going on that we all know, that we've been fighting, especially in the black community, for years. And Jamaica is also my home, which I love. I'm going to tell the truth about it too, because there's a lot of crap that goes on here. I'm going to stop saying crap, because I don't say crap, I say shit. I'm sorry. If you don't like curse words, I curse. I'm going to try to not be too bad with it, but I curse. It's a lot that goes on here that is really bad. But I love it same way. So I really am a person with two homes and two separate lifestyles, and I have to make the adjustment. When I come back to the United States, I have to remember, okay, I've got a lot more options. When I get back to Jamaica, I have to adjust to, okay, this is what it is. This is what I have to work with. And I have to make myself as comfortable as I possibly can until I can get back to the States and maybe get some things that I need or do some things that I need to do, which I do travel back and forth often. As a matter of fact, before COVID, I was coming home at least no more than every 3 months, no less than every 3 months. I would come home. You know, if not to just check on my family, to take care of some of my business, because I still have a couple properties there. And so I was coming home to just kind of check in and love on some of my family and friends, and go to places like Chipotle and Target. Because we don't have a Target here. We don't have a Chipotle here. We don't have a Quiznos. We don't, you know, we have a KFC and we have a Pizza Hut. And we not too long ago got those. In Kingston, I believe there is a TGI Fridays, but outside of that, and I think that there might even be a Subway, but outside of that, all of these other places that we have, especially particularly in the DMV, all the choices that we have for food and different, don't have that. So that is one of my hardest struggles, is not having access to, you know, not having access to a lot of different restaurants and places to eat and options. Not being able to wake up and say, you know what, I'm going to go to McDonald's and get a breakfast sandwich. Or, you know what, I want to go to Maggiano's, I want some Italian. Or I want to go for some pho soup. I want to go, because I'm a foodie. So the struggle is real when I'm here, because I am limited. And again, for those people who are saying, I want to move to Jamaica, I want to move, no you don't. You want to come to Jamaica, you want to enjoy, and then you want to go back to the comforts of your home. That's what you want to do. Because if you move to Jamaica, you will soon realize, after a few days at the beach, and after eating your curry chicken and your jerk chicken and your oxtail, you're going to be looking like, okay, well, I want to go to Johnny Boy's. I want some ribs. I want to go... I want to go to China Sky. I want some good... I want to go to Grace's. Okay? Alright, so... making a lot of noise, but I just think I have completed the final process. Now, I'm going to show this to you. And you're going to say, that don't look like lemonade. That look kind of dark. And it doesn't. But trust and believe me, it's delicious. I wish I could give you also. It's delicious. And it's so healthy. So once this chills and we put a little ice to this is delicious. My Jamaican friends comment. Let the people know that this is delicious. Even if I didn't make it the way that you make it. You still my head? That's that black girl magic. All right, y'all. Love y'all. I'm going to do another video tomorrow. I'm going to the market. Ooh, child. That's going to be an experience. But I'll do another video tomorrow. Later.